they still gotta play us. Let's go, baby. Woo!
Hey, don't run that ball on the one hover, showed you how that go down. Feeling like Santino, tell him we want all the smoke now. We ain't snooping that commercial, we don't put no smoke down. Plus we back and you can't hide, so it ain't nowhere safe to go now. We always gon' turn up in that jungle every time. How we ain't gon' win when we loaded in with 9? Plus T just came in signed, so the city gon' be fine. Jamar say he open every time and he ain't never lied. Look at how we win at it, the size of the old line. Giving Burrow extra time should be a federal crime. Hey, we right back on that path again. Put the division back to the test, they won't pass again. Orlando and Trent Brown, that's the Tower Twins. Feel like we only getting better as we stacking wins.
And we stacking.
Jaceki in for 6, that's a gritty again. AFC North battles getting gritty again. It's Yoshi second year, we just brought Burton in. Vaughn back to ring some bells, get the cracking again.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, Iceman Jeff Tronopole, and as always, I bring you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of some of the best wings around. That's right, it's Midwest best barbecue, and I ask you the same question every single day. If you have not been out there, why the hell not? I know Pork Chop and Greg are out there today, along with Arrow. I think they made a trip out there. Get you some CTB wings, some Uno wings. This is football food, people. This is football food. You need some wings tonight. That's kind of what I'm craving. I'm craving some wings. I'm craving some Midwest best barbecue. Go tell Tim Nicole Ice sent you. Also, the show is brought to you by Meyer Windows and Door and more. Check them out at www.meyercincinnati.com for all your window and door needs. I got them in my house. I highly recommend you get them in yours. And West Side peeps, if you're looking for a cool little place, I love the one in my house, but looking for a small little venue right there in the heart of Cheviot in Hail Marys. You're a ticket to the game. Go check them out. They got big ass TV screen, beer specials, free parking, people. I love free parking. Food trucks. It's gonna be an awesome time. Go out there and watch Thursday night football tonight. Let's bring this guy in here because we got some stuff to talk about. We got the man, the myth, my co-host, Joe Schmo. We need a nickname for Joe. We call him Joe Schmo. We call him Bald Joe. Crypt Keeper, if you're out there, I'm sure you can think of a name for him. Let's bring on Joe. As long as my mouse works. Joe, what's going on?
What's good, brother? How are you?
Good, man. So we got to come up with a nickname for you. I mean, they have the ball guys. We could call you the hand. There,
disembodied hand of my minion.
Yes, the disembodied hand. But I'll put it out there to the group chat. But and we should do this, and hopefully by next Tuesday when we're back live at the Moreland Lager House, we can have a nickname for you. And if you guys have not been there, we did our first show this past Tuesday. It was awesome. The show it's going to be 2 hours long. It's from 6 to 8 every Tuesday during the Bengals season. The Moreland Lager House is extending happy hour, starting at 3, going all the way till 8. It's an absolute blast. We had a great time. Also, this Sunday, I cannot wait. We are the first time we are doing this, the Mercedes-Benz of Fort Mitchell at Moreland Lager House, a pregame experience 3 hours before the game. Now, it's going to be up in the Beer Baron room. It's going to be upstairs. Tickets are going fast. They're $75. They've lowered it. We got a really cool venue we're going to do it in. We just couldn't do it this week because it's still getting under construction. But get tickets. The link is on all my social medias. You can check out Moreland Lager House for there. There'll be a DJ there. Open bar, people. Like I keep saying, open bar for $75 is pretty damn good in and of itself. Plus, they're going to have a margarita bar there. They're going to have a buffet. I will be there doing a podcast there, probably from 11 to 12. My boy Zim Hude is going to be there. Bengals captain's going to show up. It's going to be an absolute blast. So we got a lot of cool stuff going on here. I cannot wait. Dude, Joe, football starts tonight, dude. We got football tonight. We got football tomorrow night. We got football Saturday. We got football Sunday. We got it Monday. I mean, this is awesome. This is like Christmas Eve, dude.
We are celebrating, as you can see.
I can tell. She's back.
We got Thursday night football tonight. I got varsity football for Purcell Marion tomorrow. I'm working change tomorrow. Then we got JV football for Purcell Saturday morning. Then Bearcats on Saturday at noon, and then Bengals. Yeah, it is here. It is now time for kiss your loved ones goodbye, and I'll see you in February when the season's over.
Yeah, exactly. You have the list like, all right, so my home improvement projects are not done, but they're probably not going to get done here because football's happening, and that's the excuse. We get all this stuff done in the summertime, get everything out the way, and we sit down in front of a TV or go to the stadium with your favorite beverage of choice. Mine's more on lager beer. I love those. And enjoy some football. And it's going to be an absolute blast. And I'll put it to you this way. I hate to say this, but I'm rooting for the Chiefs tonight because, look, and Bengals fans can say what they want, but if you're really a Bengals fan, you want the Ravens to lose. The Ravens to lose. Chiefs come in next week undefeated. We beat them. The Bengals can be 2-0. The Ravens, hopefully, and the Chiefs will be 1-1. What could be better? Yeah,
I mean, it's not a matter of cheering for one team or the other. It's just thinking about what's advantageous for the team in the long run. And anyone, when you've got hopes of winning your division, any team in your division racking up a loss is a benefit for you. So.
Exactly. It's going to be a blast. All right, let's get to a guy who hasn't been on the show in a long time. He's got his long hair back. Hopefully his internet is working because it's kind of coming in and out, but we're going to try this. He used to be from the same old stripes. Now he's gone big time. He's on the Believe Network. He's got a new podcast. I mean, Willie's just blowing up. Let's get the Willie Lutz. And again, get my mouse to work. That would help. Willie, what's going on, my man?
Howdy, my friend. Sorry, I was having problems with my AirPods and my microphone and my iPad. Everything hit the fan. We're on a laptop now. Things are good. I'm on the Believe Network, and I'm happy to be here with you guys.
That is awesome, dude. Congratulations on that. You and Coach Minnick. When do you guys upload your podcast? What day?
So we're going to be posting on Thursdays. Coach is actually in the middle of a move with the family right now, so we won't post this week, but we will have a reaction podcast after the Bengals' first game, I guess, next week. So Thursday, you can expect to hear from your friends at Willie and Matt No Ball.
Awesome. Which, by the way, we have something a new show that me and Joe are going to be doing. We're going to be doing a post-game show after every Bengals game. Now, with Joe, this guy right here is going to be in charge of it because I'm going to be at the Bengals game. So once this happens, so Joe will start the show, and then when I get a chance that I'm in the car or in the ice cave, I will jump on. But we asked you guys to jump on and give your opinions about the show, reaction, what's going on, live reactions. What time do we think about starting this show?
Probably about 45 minutes after the clock hits triple zeros.
There you go.
Enough time to process everything, get a couple beverages to either calm down for
or celebrate
if it was a stressful one, or exactly, get a couple victory pops out of the way.
Exactly. All right, boys. So the elephant in the room has been Ja'Marr Chase all training camp. He has practiced not 1, but 2 days in a row, boys. That's what we call a streak. Not streaking, it's a streak. And he's got a press conference set for Friday. So are we I'll go with you, Willie. Are we kind of expecting maybe a contract announcement tonight? Or did he just go, screw it, I made my point, but Bengals aren't budging, I'm going to play? What's your thoughts, Willie?
So first of all, I think lots of things will happen with Ja'Marr Chase in the next couple of days, including the contract extension. But I do think that he did put the Friday timeline out there for 2 reasons. One, because if he was going to get a deal done and he felt like that was in range, Friday is probably when that would all go down.
Right.
It sounds like even if it happened today, they probably wouldn't do, or if it happened yesterday, they probably would do a conference today. They would have done it.
Yeah.
Everything lines up for Friday. It's really interesting, though, because I think in the situation where they didn't reach a contract, it sounds like he probably would end up having media availability anyway. And at that point, I'm sure his agent would have given him all or could still potentially give him all the fodder to be like, here's what we're going to give him so they give us even more money next offseason when we go to negotiate. Because that's the reality of what the Bengals doing. He's probably going to make more money if he goes to
That's what I keep saying.
This is a favor to them. At the
Right.
end of the day, he's doing them a huge favor despite the fact that he's not right.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I keep saying. I'm like, if he goes and balls out, he's going to make even more money. Joe, what's your thoughts? We get the contract announcement tonight?
I hope so, just so that everything's all wrapped. I mean, he's not going anywhere. He's going to spend the next at least 6 seasons. You figure probably 4-year extension on top of the fifth year option, and just having it taken care of. Just granted, he'll probably have to renegotiate 3 or 4 years later anyway. But
Right.
I have to go through this crap all over again. But yeah. I would say, I'm not much of a gambler, but I'd say 2-1 odds that it's done, that it'll be taken care of before kickoff. But it wouldn't be a surprise. I mean, we all thought Jesse Bates was going to be here long term. We thought T. Higgins was signed, sealed, delivered. So it's still the Bengals. Again, I love where they are, but it's still a Mike Brown run organization. I still have PTSD, man. 44 years of this crap. So
we're going to have that for a while. But I mean, I do think he is going to be signed eventually. I kind of hope it's tonight, so we get this out of the way. But I don't know. Now they answer Brad's question here. Brad, it's gonna be right here for the show. It's gonna be right here on Sports with Strawberry Ice. So I guess we're gonna call it Sports with Strawberry Ice Network. Joe is, like I said, he's been so kind enough to be the co-host. So I figured I'd give him his own show that he can do whatever he wants with. So we don't have a name for it or anything, or Bengals post game.
We're streaking. That's what we're doing on our show.
Streaking, baby! It's gonna be awesome. By the way, Willie, I'm so happy you got the long hair back. I have to say that. You looked weird the last time I saw you with the short hair.
Yeah, I don't think it was for anyone. Everyone at work thought I got fired. There were people coming from the other office. I thought someone else was like, yeah, this is a little weird. We had a couple bad results for our Cincinnati Bengals with the short hair. It has to be long hair.
It's got to be.
Back. Yeah.
You're like who's the guy, the mythical guy in the Bible with the
Samson.
Samson, yeah, you're like Samson. You got to have the Samson hair for the Bengals to do good. So I mean, right here, this is why I think the Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl. But other than the fact that I think they're going to be the best team in football, Willie Lutz got his long hair back. So there you go.
And it's a good omen for the season. I feel like with the short hair, everyone should be a little bit. Everyone should be on the post.
Right.
See, I should be concerned because I shaved my head right before the opener last year. And that's kind of when things started to go a little
So it's
sideways.
your fault, Joe. It's all your fault.
I should maybe grow it back out, or at least back to normal.
Dude, honestly, I don't know. I saw a picture with your hair. I think it looks better with bald, to be honest.
There wasn't much hair.
It was like a little.
It was short.
It was like a little Woody Woodpecker. I'm going to age myself.
Yeah.
You guys know what Woody Woodpecker is. All right, Dustin's got a question here. Willie, you are tuned in with the O-line side of things. With the eye candy we're supposed to see this year on the offense, what do you expect from blocking schemes, protections, stuff like that?
So I actually don't know that the run scheme is going to look all that different, which is probably not super exciting to people in the chat. But I just feel like what you can probably expect is just more bodies involved in, especially in the running game, and then just rolled out much differently. So last year, I think that, and especially, I think this is just a very Brian Callahan, Peyton Manning philosophy. Lots of static personnel. People have their roles within the offense. I think a lot of that's going to go out the window this year. I think that they're going to be, especially like someone like Drew Sample, who's now playing on his second contract.
The legend, Drew Sample.
A guy who they really like, and Eric All, who I think is going to be very involved in this offense right out of the gate. Yeah, I just think they're going to be much more versatile. From a blocking standpoint, it might not blow you away, but it'll feel a lot different.
I think me and Joe talked about this a lot. I think it's going to be, as me and Joe got into an argument about last year, but I kind of come around to his side of thinking, which doesn't happen very often. That's whatever. I think it's not going to be as predictable this year because there's a lot more stuff that they can do just with Jamar Chase alone, with the slot in the backfield. Obviously outside, there's things that they can do. The slot, I think, is going to be really interesting of what they're going to do with Gesicki and Yoshivas and Chuck Jones, just different guys they can put in the slot this year.
Yeah, and that's actually the area I'm super interested in this year. And I normally would think about the offensive line nonstop all offseason, but it's been hard for me not to think more about the skill position talent they've got this year. They've loaded up. I mean, not that it's a bunch of high-end guys necessarily outside of T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, but it's just a bunch of different body types. It's much more, and they talk about building your receiver like a basketball team, bunch of different guys with different skill sets who can do different things. It just feels like, in what I've heard, is that they're just going to roll out a lot of different stuff, especially in the passing sets. And from play to play, it's just going to feel very different. Predictability, yes, but I think that the slot receiver position is going to be a lot different than we ever have known. So I think a lot of this offseason, I've heard Andre Yoshivas, wide receiver 3, big-time hype. Love it, feel it. I'm there with all you guys. Mm-hmm. That is not going to feel like it felt with Tyler Boyd at all. He is not going to be your traditional wide receiver 3, right, to the point where I don't even think they like calling him a wide receiver 3. It doesn't really fit his role super well because, like you said, you're going to have your Gesicki's playing his kind of role. You're going to have him lining up outside sometimes when you want to move Jamar Chase in. Yep. You're going to have, I mean, it's just going to be so much different. So I think
Chase Brown can run routes out of the slot.
I think they're relying on both of those running backs in the passing game quite a bit. I think when you're looking at this Bengals team and you're looking at roles, it's kind of hard for me to look at wide receiver 3 and be like, this is going to be a guy. It's going to be so much more of a varied approach. It's going to be a surprise, a little bit different than what a lot of Bengals fans are used to. Like I said, They're coming from a very Peyton Manning background offense with Brian Callahan's influence.
Right.
That's there because it's, that's the mind. But now you got like the Sean McVay having much more of an influence. I mean, Dan Pitcher brings something totally different. He was
and we have a passing game coordinator, which I always his name always slips my mind, but we do have that. That's a new wrinkle to the offense.
Absolutely. I mean, man, it's just going to be a very different feel for these Bengals offense. It's very exciting. And even with Amarius Mims being your sixth offensive lineman, that's a different feel that allows you to be a little bit heavier in pass protection.
Oh, dude, those are some big son of a bitches there, dude. We got 3, 6, 8 guys. I mean, me and Joe were go back and have fun on Twitter about how big these dudes are. These guys are freaking huge. I mean, Kirkland's what would you? He's 6'7".
Jackson Kirkland's 6'7", and he's the dwarf of the tackles.
He's 6'7", and he's small compared to these guys. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I think that, and you're talking about how the Peyton Manning Callahan MO is more of static, and that's what Burrow loves. And I think it's good that he's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. He's going to have to turn his back to the defense on play action, which, again, that helps the defense out. Bengals struggled for explosive plays, and they're still able to put points on the board because you had the most accurate quarterback and you had playmakers. But being able to have something, and we talked about this all the time, Jeff, just so that the defense doesn't see personnel coming in and know exactly what you're going to do.
Right.
Mike Gesicki's going to have to block. He doesn't block, like he's never really blocked much, but they've come out and said that he's been blocking a lot more just because they're going to run 12 personnel and run out of that.
Dude, I'm so excited for 12 personnel. That is going to be awesome.
It's just so you don't want the defense to be able to make that easy chess move after you bring guys in, or you line up a certain way and they know what's going to they audible into a different defensive call or anything like that. So I just think it's just going to be interesting and fascinating to see what this offense is. We have no idea. We've seen a handful of plays on the first drive of a Tampa Bay game, which was vanilla as vanilla can be, and then you didn't even see any Jake Browning for the rest of the time, so you didn't even see him running any of the regular schemes or anything like that. So this will be fun to see what they do. I mean, I expect some crazy crap going, and wouldn't be surprised if there's I don't want to say flea flicker or double, just something. Again, just put it on tape, just so you can teams are thinking of it, just so you can call back to it later in the year.
And I'm sure we'll get into this, but I do wonder how much of that we will see in week 1 versus in week 2, because I don't know how much they're going to show their hand against this.
They're not going to have to show a lot. Okay, put this in. They shouldn't have to show a lot against New England.
The Bengals in week 1. I will caveat.
Right. Yeah. But I'm always pretty confident going into the season, but I don't feel like I'm having to defend. I haven't had to defend the Bengals of why I think they're going to have a good start this year, because we have a healthy Joe Burrow. Now, like everybody's saying in the chat here, T did show up on the injury report with a slight hamstring pull, which I don't want to push it off as nothing, because when it does come to T, they usually it does turn into something. So hopefully that's not the case, but. Does that open the door for Burton? And that's the one that everybody's been wanting to see stuff for. I mean, does he have a role in this offense, in your opinion, Willie?
I have to be careful. I know there's a lot of big Jermaine Burton fans everywhere.
Look, I've been saying Yoshi Vash is wide receiver 3 the whole time. Everybody keeps, Burton. I'm like, okay, Yoshi's going to be 3. My God.
Burton was never going to not make the team, but I think we have every reason to believe that he is wide receiver 6 and even wide receiver 7.
Oh, yeah. Just look at the play time.
He'll be inactive.
Yeah. Should be. Yeah. I mean, just look at the play time he got in the preseason, or who he played with.
And clearly some of the messaging that we've seen, even from Joe Burrow himself, is that Joe Burrow is not ready to trust him yet. And that was something. I mean, Chris Evans is a guy we talk about like that all the time. A guy that we see tons of talent. We see it in the preseason. We see the flashes, but Joe Burrow was never comfortable with them, and apparently was showing up on stuff in game day, and that wasn't going to fly. So it's not going to fly with Jermaine Burton just because he's got all the talent in the world either.
Yeah, and I really do. I'm big on Charlie Jones. I want to. Hopefully, he can stay healthy. I want to see. I see what he can do in this offense, because I do think he can bring some explosiveness and a different wrinkle to this offense than we've seen. Yeah, you got a pussy over the corner there.
Yeah, I was trying to talk about it before I hit the.
I had to lock mine up because we have a little kitten down here. She likes coming down here and knocking stuff down. I'm like, gotta stop.
Yeah, the kitten just thinks she's a superstar. She probably just wants.
Duh.
To
Exactly.
Charlie Jones. I honestly, Matt and I were kind of previewing the roster. We were kind of like, man, maybe he doesn't make the roster. They have some interesting UDFA guys, and even Hakeem Butler came into the back camp. Very crowded room with Jermaine Burton pick. Maybe he got squeezed out by that. He had a really, like a quietly impressive camp, I think, for them. It bounced back from that injury early in camp, too. I think they're looking forward to Charlie Jones maybe not having like a crazy breakout season, but who knows? Maybe that's your next Trenton Irwin for this team. They are going to look for that role. I mean, Trenton Irwin is a guy they like having around, but he's also a guy that's not getting younger, and he's not a guy that has the overall athletic package you're going to get with Charlie Jones, who he came into the NFL as a 24-year-old. If he was any younger, he probably would have been a second-round pick or even maybe a late first-round guy.
Now, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I kind of looked at T.I. as a guy that you like having on your team, but wouldn't be upset if he got beat out for a spot because he has the trust and he's reliable, but he doesn't have anything explosive. He doesn't have great size. He's not T. Higgins going to go box some guy out, and he doesn't have the wiggle, the quick change that Chuck Sizzle has. Charlie Jones is your punt returner. I think that right there is what's gave him the edge over guys anyway, no matter what he gives or doesn't give you at receiver. So again, I like Trenton Irwin. He's done good things for the team. But yeah, if Charlie Jones is on the roster next year and T.I. isn't, that's not a bad thing. Like that again, that's upping the floor. I think just the floor of your room.
Now, one thing I want to bring this because I would love to know what his list is. Michael says Burton will be 4 or 5 on the wide receiver list.
If he's 4 or 5, then we've got issues because guys have gotten hurt.
Yeah, let's just
who's sitting out?
Right. Just go. So you got Chase, T, Yoshi. That's your 3. And you got Ti, and then Charlie Jones. That's your 5. Like, who's he? Who's he beating out?
And they're not activating. 6 guys are not going to be active on the on game day roster.
This is not Burton hate. This is about looking at the tea leaves. I know he says he said he did good yesterday. Well, that's cool and all, but that we've seen this from Chris Evans, and if Joe doesn't trust him and he's not running the right routes and everything, I don't. It could change during the season. We'll see. But tomorrow he might not see the field, to be honest. Or not tomorrow, Sunday. Sorry.
There's a reason he was a 3rd-round pick. You look at his athletic profile and his productivity at Alabama, for crying out loud. They're a machine turning out wide receivers, and he fell to the 3rd round because of these issues. I mean, that's the problem. I don't know if it's maturity or concentration or whatever. Like the ability is there. It's just getting the shit from the neck up in the game, and that's fine. Like he doesn't need to perform. And if hopefully he can get with the program, and if he doesn't, then okay, he's not being relied on for anything this season or next season, most likely either.
And Charlie Jones and Yoshi have got a year of experience in the NFL. That's so big. Yeah. I mean, it is. It's so big, and this is nothing on Burton hate. The talent is there. It's just from, like you said, from the neck up. That's from what you listen to what Joe, like you said, Willie. Listen to what Joe said. If Joe's saying your name and you gotta get in the playbook, then he doesn't trust you. And Joe doesn't trust you. You get the ball.
Joe Burrow thrown a pass in a game to Jermaine Burton yet? No, not preseason or anything. No. So, and he has to the other, plenty to the other guys. So that's maybe he works his way up. I hope if he works his way up, then that helps the team out. But
right, exactly. Yeah, I agree, Michael. It's all speculation, right? We're all just speculating, but we're just going by what we've seen in the preseason, what they've said. So, like I said, later on in the season, who knows? Because I was the biggest Chris Evans fan. I would get so frustrated why he wasn't playing. I mean, I had Zim on a couple weeks ago, and he was saying that he's comparing Burton to Chris Evans, and it could happen. It could be the same thing. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully Burton gets it together, and if he does, guys, that's another amazing piece right there that we could have going into next year if he does get it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great, and that's interesting that Zim made that same comp. I mean, it's a very similar situation. You just hope that because of the talent and because of the pedigree, it works out a little bit better for Jermaine Burton. And it's so hard in this league to take these risks and have everything work out. I mean, look at a guy like Tyreek Hill. Obviously, he didn't come from the program pedigree, but he's another guy that was a 3rd-round pick and had plenty of character concerns, more legal things than Jermaine Burton had going on.
Right. Yeah, true.
Yeah, certainly. But I mean, same kind of situation, all the talent in the world, lots of concerns above the shoulders, but he got it all together and figured it out. And obviously he's had a Hall of Fame career. So I'm not saying that Jermaine Burton is necessarily like the same high elite level of talent as Tyreek Hill, but there's no reason he can't obviously be a starting receiver in this offense. Like,
nobody's writing him off or anything.
No, absolutely not. No.
But still, the concerns are very much real. It's a risk, man. I mean, the same reason he was a third. It's tough. It's a very tough situation. I just hope people. I want Bengals fans to lower their expectations so they have a happier time with the Jermaine Burton experience, the Jackson Carman experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some guy here says, Burrow tells all rookies to put their noses in the playbook. I don't know if he says it publicly. Yeah. I mean, I know Yoshi Voss. He didn't tell Yoshi Voss or Charlie Jones out last year.
Show me where he said that Marius Mims needs to be in the playbook.
right, exactly. So I don't know about that. And then Michael says Chase is limited today. So what do we think about that? Well, Chase hasn't practiced that much, so yeah, I can see why he's limited. Like I said, even if Jamar Chase plays on Sunday, I like Richard Skinner said Tuesday on the show, he's probably gonna be on a pitch count, which he probably will be because he hasn't practiced. I mean, you don't want Jamar Chase going out there and getting injured against the freaking Patriots, who we should beat without him. So yeah, that's none of this. Again, none of this stuff scares me. It's like there's reasons that they're doing this, and it makes sense to me. Anyway, we'll see. So speaking of Mims, that makes me. I'm very happy that he's back practicing. Like I said, we talked about this. I've talked about this a lot on the show. In my personal opinion, if Mims did not get hurt, he was going to be a starting right tackle. The way he was playing, he looked phenomenal. With that being said, in your opinion, Willie, how long is Trent Brown your right tackle? Is he the right tackle until he gets injured? And this is not shade. Trent Brown's gotten injured the last 4 years. He hasn't made a whole season. Or do they eventually just move Mims in before that? What do you think?
So I have to be careful because after watching him play and watching camp, I have a really hard time not like gushing about Mims. I think he's.
Oh, dude!
I don't think it's like hyperbole to say that he could be a Pro Bowler as a rookie or right tackle and play 14, 15 games. So here's what I think about that. I think the Trent Brown Mims thing will kind of resolve itself naturally. I think that we're going to get in one of these first 5 to 10 games, and Brown's going to come up with some sort of injury. Most
likely.
Yeah. Whether it's a thing that just keeps him out a couple days of practice and Mims is just your starting right tackle, I think the minute he gets that job, kind of like he did in training camp until he went down with the injury, I just think they're going to put him in and they're going to be like, we can't take him off the field. He's too good.
Yeah.
I think he's that good. And that's saying something against – and Iceman, you said it, no shade to Trent Brown. I think really, really highly of Trent Brown. This is not like a Leo Collins situation where we're doing a lot of ifs, ands, and buts. We hope he plays well in this situation, but he still has this obvious flaw. No, I think Trent Brown's a pretty solid, he has his flaws, but I think he knows how to overcome his flaws. And for the most part, he's a consummate professional. But I think when you put Mims on the field, man, the ceiling of this offense it goes to a different tier. With him at right tackle, looking the way he looked at that age, and getting him those reps is another thing that's just huge. I think you're just going to have to get him on the field if he's ready to go. That's my opinion. They'll probably wait a few more weeks than that, but I think they will have their hand forced.
Skinny was convinced that Trent Brown can't make it through a game because of conditions.
Yeah, he said a game.
He was absolutely convinced.
I forgot. That's a good point, Joe. I forgot he said that. I'm like, and I asked him.
They said that about him in New England last year too.
Yeah, I asked him. I said, you mean a game or the season? He goes, no, a game. I'm like, oh, so Skinny says he might get in tomorrow, sometime during Sunday. So
luckily, it's going to be 72 degrees, so it's not going to be like that.
Right.
It's good. Weather's going to be absolutely damn perfect. But so it's at least it's not like 95 or anything silly like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if Mims got in. Just even if it's just mixing it in for a couple plays on a long drive. But yeah, I mean, I think Brown is in until there's a reason for him not to be in. But yeah, by the end of the season, by midseason, Mims will be the starting right tackle.
I think so.
Health or other, so.
I can't wait for the first time they bring either Brown or Mims in and put them next to either Orlando or, stack one side left or right and pound that ball, baby. And let them just road grade. I cannot wait for that.
I love that you kind of have two little running backs. They're not super little.
Yeah, they're gonna hide behind them.
They're like
They're short though.
5'9".
Yeah, they're not gonna see them over our 6'8" guys.
I was talking. There's a little something to that. Like it's not like a crazy advantage, but there's something to like those defensive linemen about being able to find the running back amidst the mountains.
Yeah, because I remember this. I hate bringing up the Chiefs thing, but I mean, Super Bowl 2 or 3, whatever the hell they won. I remember watching the NFL films, and they had a little running back, and whoever they played in the Super Bowl, they couldn't find them. And that's honestly, I never thought about that until you just said that, Willie. And that is a thing. Like, man, if they're running the ball and you can't see the guy, that's an advantage for the Bengals.
Not that any of these guys are him, but Barry Sanders, I mean, was 5'8", very similar height, and you see him just literally. I mean, the Lions were absolutely just god awful back when he played for him, and their lines were never good. But you see him just come out of the backside of these plays, and no one would see him. And he had this, never mind he could break tackles because his legs were the size of sequoia trunks, but like you wouldn't see him until he popped out of the backside of the plates because he was so short, and hid behind everybody.
Exactly. Good, Willie. Yeah.
But I was gonna say, I love that we're getting into Barry Sanders talk. I don't think we're gonna have. You didn't make it sound like this, but it'll be nice for them to have a different feel at running back. And I think Joe Mixon, especially from a fantasy perspective, is gonna have a big season down in Houston.
I think the scheme fits him in Houston better than it did here.
I do too, but I just think these running backs, from a feel standpoint, and it might not even be from a production standpoint, but from an offensive efficiency standpoint, it's going to feel totally different, and I think it's going to feel it's going to feel very refreshing if you're into efficient offensive football, which I think every football fan is.
Yeah.
The thing
they fit better. They fit what the Bengals want to do, but they've been trying to do. Joe Mixon just wasn't that guy. I mean, he was a 1990s style back, giving him 25, 30 times, and he'll wear you down by the fourth quarter. We don't do that anymore. Like you do that in a 4-minute drill at the end of the game, but outside of that, you're not like you're on the gas. You're throwing the ball,
And the thing is,
until halfway to the fourth.
And both of them get pass block too, so you're not going to have to pull one on them out going, hey, we're going to throw it because Mixon's not in there. That's going to be a different thing. And I think I've said this a lot, where I expect, like I said, we're not going to be a running team. We're not. But I think we're going to have a chance to have more explosive plays instead of a 4 or 5 yard run. We might have a 7 to 10 yard gain. On a consistent, maybe 5 to 7, somewhere around there. A bigger explosiveness out of the running game, along with what they can do. These running backs can do in the passing game. We just said we can line Chase Brown up in the slot. Hell, you might be able to break him out wide too. As fast as that guy is, I mean, you might be able to. That's just different stuff that Mixon just couldn't do. It's just a fact.
And to me, a lot of it, the explosive plays to me are super nice, the breakaway runs and all that kind of stuff, but I think that those two guys are going to allow your offense to get in a lot more second and short opportunities, which is going to open up everything in this offense. If you're able to get, 7 where you were previously getting 3, like that's asking a lot. But for me, I think that speed and agility of these guys is going to create more efficiency on first down, even if it's just those little dump off passes. And Joe Mixon has actually been pretty good in this offense on those little dump off passes, but he doesn't have some of the breakaway ability that you're going to see from Moss.
He doesn't have the wiggle he used to have. It's like and Skinny brought this up Tuesday. Callahan said we can get, how do you put it, Joe? We can gain the yards that is blocked. We don't get anything extra.
Yeah,
we have I think ability. These guys have the ability to get stuff extra. Joe Mixon just could not. He couldn't break tackles anymore. He's getting older. He just couldn't do it. I mean, Joe Mixon of old could be able to sit there and wait a little bit, see where the hole would open up, and then go through it. He couldn't do that anymore. He's got to hit that hole and go. And it's a running back. That's just life. You get older, you can't do the stuff you used to do. These guys are younger, faster. I mean, Chase Brown ran at 22 miles an hour last year. I mean, that's fucking fast. Like you can't teach that. So that's
I had a car back in the day that I could barely get up to 22 miles an hour. So,
and I'll just add this on here as a kind of concluding thought for me on the running backs. I know that within this offense, there is always going to be probably more checkdowns than you see in other offenses that result in big plays, just because you have to respect those receivers so much down the field. If you have these
playing back,
if you have these faster and more agile running backs as your dump off guys, come on. Right. I think that everyone has the deductive reasoning.
And check down is not a bad play. Check down is a good play, especially if, like you just said, if we have guys who can make make something happen out of it, it's going to make this offense go even more. And I've said this before and I really believe this year. This team should put up 30 points a game. They should. They have the weapons to do it. There's no, and they have the scheme, and they have the guys that can line up in different positions where you don't know what the hell they're going to do. We can actually surprise some people this year. So,
well, and if they do just throw a lot of checkdowns, what does that force the defense to do? Are they going to bring the linebackers up, keep them a little closer? Are they going to bring the safeties up? Then you're just going to throw it to the top. Again, you have the most accurate quarterback in NFL history, and Jamar Chase is one of the most creative after the catch in the NFL. Like, they have the prescription to have just an incredibly explosive, and they probably won't be the most explosive, in terms of yards, points, but if they're not top 2 or 3, then something's going wrong. In my opinion.
Now, to be clear, I don't expect them to open up the entire playbook on Sunday. I really don't. I think it's going to be somewhat vanilla, to be honest, because I
show what they have to.
Yeah, because you got the Chiefs coming up, so they don't want to show too much. Plus, it's the Patriots. We should beat them fairly handily. We shouldn't have to do all that stuff. So I can just tell when we do our post-game show after the game, like, oh, this offense was really vanilla and blah, blah. I'm like, well, I'm telling you, it might be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I was just gonna say, just like I think we talked about earlier in the show, next week is the big week, and it's gonna come up fast for us. Kansas City's gonna have a little bit of extra time to prep. They're gonna have more stuff on tape, I'd assume, against Baltimore than the Bengals are gonna show against the Patriots. So advantage Bengals there, but I think with even the pitch counts that we were talking about for Jamar Chase, and maybe even that T. Higgins, if his hamstring is something, I don't know if that's a big deal. But I think that it's all roads, and you can't overlook the Patriots, or we can't be on to Kansas City.
And that's something I'm not trying to say we look over. You can't, and I don't think this team will look over them, to be honest, because I think that's one thing this team does a really good job of focusing game to game. I think better than any Bengals team I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's the week-to-week stuff for them has gotten better and better. Now, granted, the last year is a funky year for them because with the injuries, last year is just bizarre. I have a really hard time wrapping my head around a lot of what went down last season because I think about I'm trying to be yeah, they're pretty consistent, and I'm like, wow, they were really weird in that Houston game after they annihilated the 49ers.
I know.
Last year's team is hard for me to contextualize, but yes, from a Zach Taylor perspective, especially as we get into the season, they don't have a whole lot of falling apart from week to week. It doesn't really happen.
I said is the best I ever saw the offense look probably ever. I don't know if ever, but they look really good in that Sucky Niners game. The Sucky Niners had no clue what we were doing, and that's what we need to happen every week. Nobody knows what the hell you're doing. You can line up, at one look, and you do something different, and that's what they were doing. They were clueless in that game. And I hate the 49ers. Sorry, I cussed. The Sucky Niners. So I call them that because they beat us twice in the Super Bowl. And don't ever call Joe Burrow Joe Cool because that's Joe Montana. So why the hell would you call him that? But anyway, I love that game. That was my favorite game. And then you roll around to the next week against Houston, and it's the fuck? It was weird.
What's frustrating is, as odd as the Texans game was, that was a W in the book. If Tyler Boyd just makes that easy catch in the end zone, it's
which he makes 99% of the times.
He made 99% of the time. Yeah. Also, Noah Brown can't hurt us anymore. I don't know if he got picked up by anybody, but he feasted. I absolutely just ate that game. Killed them for the Cowboys a couple years ago. I hope wherever he goes is a team that doesn't play the Bengals, because they're going to, even if he's inactive, even if he's on the practice squad, they will elevate him and play him against the Bengals wherever he went if they have a chance to play him. So just hopefully he's gone somewhere. Go to the CFL.
Week 3 against the Washington Commanders, we will get to see our old friend Noah Brown.
Oh, they picked him up? Okay, I missed where he went.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, he can't torches that game. He's not allowed. That's the Ring of Honor game, and Corey Dillon's getting in the Ring of Honor, and that's not allowed to happen. I'm just saying.
We can't in the first half. It's the second half. We have the big dramatic comeback. That's kind of what
Exactly. All right, so let's do a little Thursday Night Football here, because we are going to play both these teams, obviously, and we have the Chiefs next week. I put it out there that, and it sucks. I hate it, but I will be rooting for the Chiefs tonight because, like I said, the Chiefs lose, or the Chiefs win tonight, and then we beat them next week, and hopefully the Ravens win this week and lose next week. and we win both. We're 2-0. I mean, that right there sets us up for a great start to the season. And the what I don't get with the Ravens and why people keep picking them. So all we've heard about for years is, well, the Bengals aren't so good because their offensive line stinks. Well, the Ratbirds lost 3 of their offensive linemen. They got 3 new starters. I mean, that's to me, it's like the offensive line counts for everybody except us. Like, I don't get that. That's where I'm like, why is everybody so much on the Ratbirds? They lost half their damn coaches. They lost their offensive line. I mean, am I missing something, Willie?
Yeah, so I actually do like Baltimore quite a bit this year, and I can kind of unpack this a little bit, but I actually dislike them for a different reason entirely than you seem to dislike them. I actually think the defensive brain drain and some of the talent they've lost there is going to end up being where they feel the pain a little bit more.
Yeah.
I actually, when I was kind of looking at their offensive line and kind of making some of my season predictions, I think the guys they have, and this is kind of goes into, if we talk about a prediction, I don't know if we're going to do that or not, but I think they're going to take a little bit into the season to get back into form. But I think this offense is going to look pretty good, and I don't know that it's going to look tremendously different. I think there's a big misconception about the type of running back that Derrick Henry is, and I think that a lot of people view him as this, like, ultimate bruiser between the like, he is a lot more of, once he gets on the fly, he's hard to tackle. Remember that Bengals playoff game where they kind of bottled him up at the line of scrimmage?
Yeah. Or Mike Hilton was laying him out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you keep his feet from getting going.
Yeah. Early, if you can get Derrick Henry done early, make contact early, you're in a better position. With the Ravens early in the season with this new offensive line, I don't think that's going to happen as frequently and as often. And that's some of the success they enjoyed in recent years. That offensive line could just mow people over, and they could put the 3 of us back there, and we'd find a way to combine for 150 yards for whatever reason. I think that it's going to take that running game, which is ultimately the heart and soul of that team, a little bit of time to get going, which means it's going to take their play action time to get going. Give me, like, I think they can start slow and be really hot at the end of the season, which scares the heck out of me. But I think there's enough brain drain on defense to where I think that's where my concern is. I think the Ravens offense is going to be quite annoying this year. I think they're going to be actually kind of ridiculous.
Now, the thing is, everybody keeps talking about Henry. We're just same thing we're talking about Joe Mixon. He is getting older. I mean, eventually he's going to hit that wall, and it could be this year. And that's there's a reason Tennessee let him go. You know, I mean, so I have no inside knowledge or anything like that. I'm just sitting there going, yeah, you got King Henry. Well, that's cool, but he's not King Henry of 4 years ago. He's this is his 7th season, I think, somewhere around there. When you guys, somebody in the chat can look it up and let me know. But he has got some miles on him. So this could be the year he drops off a cliff, which, I mean, as a Bengals fan, I'm hoping that happens, you know. But that's the thing, is they're putting a lot of eggs, you know, all their eggs in one basket. For him, for an older running back, huh?
Year 9.
Year 9. Oh, that's even worse.
He's played 8 full seasons. This is year 9.
Yeah, year 9. I mean, and he's a big son of a bitch. I mean, he's in great shape. I could be completely freaking wrong. But
he turned 31 in January. I mean, there's a lot of, like, those knees. I mean, he's 250 pounds.
Right.
And, there are exceptions to the rules, like Adrian Peterson, but Father Time's undefeated, man. Right.
So that's her. They're putting a lot of stock in a 9-year veteran running back. So,
I'm still expecting him to go out there and ball out because, he
showed nothing slowing down. Yeah,
right. You're great until you prove that you're not. But
right. Yeah, exactly.
It's going to happen sooner than later.
Yeah, he showed no signs of slowing down at all. This is just me going, all right. Everybody's going. Well, being hopeful, and being realistic at the same time is he is a 9-year vet at a running back. I mean, it's bound to happen sometime.
Yeah.
One more Ravens note that's nice. They also might have Kyle Hamilton might be the best safety in the league, and he could end up being the best defensive player in the league by the end of the year. That is always going to weigh heavy on my head. And with a team like the Bengals that's going to be so passing heavy and so down the field passing heavy at their core, of course, a guy like that is always going to scare me and scares a lot of the top teams in the league. Even Patrick Mahomes would tell you that Kyle Hamilton is an absolute handful.
But you know what we got? We got the Raven killer. We got Jamar Chase, and he kills.
You got that.
So I mean, they've had a great defense since Jamar Chase has been there, and he still has killed them. So again, this is where I'm like, yeah, the Ravens are good. King Henry, we beat him. Like I said, but we shut him down. We've beaten when we're healthy. We've beaten the Ravens more often. I don't know about more often now, but we've beaten them and handily at times. So this is where I just don't. Again, it's me looking at things through orange-colored sunglasses and being a Bengals fan. I get it. Ravens are cool. I'm not saying they're going to be a bad team, but I just don't see how people are like, oh, it's the Ravens. It's the Ravens. It's like, really? Like, all right. Like, did you see what they did in the playoffs? I mean,
they've earned a lot of goodwill because they're
1 year.
They're a fantastic run organization. When there are holes, they patch them. When they're when they lose coaches,
where they were the last
they promote
before last year, where were they at?
There was injuries. I mean,
Lamar got hurt. We could say the same.
They made the playoffs with Tyler Huntley playing a lot of games.
Oh, you mean the Pro Bowler, Tyler Huntley?
Right.
Yeah, Pro Bowl quarterback.
Right. I know. I just get irritated with that they don't give us the same respect and talent wise on paper. Offensively, our offense stacks up, I think, pretty good to their defense. And their defense is really damn good. I will put that there.
I'll throw this out to my Baltimore friends. They respect the Bengals far more than they'd ever put on. They just need a few beers from them to be able to.
Well, you need to call them up. Let's get some beers, and then they can actually come on here. And how do you really feel about the Bengals? Like, how do you really feel that? Now, I brought this up, and this is another talking head that drives me with Kyle Brandt on Good Morning Football. And I just think this is comical. He, out of everybody in the AFC North, he picked the Browns to be not just to win the AFC, but to be in the AFC Championship game. When you got Deshaun Watson, who hasn't proven anything, you got Jameis Winston behind him, who's an interception machine. The key to winning Super Bowls and being a good team is having a consistent quarterback, and neither one of the quarterbacks they have are consistent. And don't get me wrong, they got everything else. You ain't got that quarterback. It's a big missing piece. What's your thoughts on the Kyle Brandt take for AFC Championship there, Willie?
I have heard nothing good about the Browns' offense in training camp. Not a thing. I think that there is legitimate concern that outside of Amari Cooper and David Njoku, they are going to struggle for offensive production.
Struggle like you struggled?
Yeah. They're going to struggle for it, man.
Struggle for it. It's a new word.
Yeah, I think that the Nick Chubb situation, while last year they were able to cover.
When is he going to be back? Do we know? Is he back week one?
No,
he's not going to be back week one. If he comes back, I'd be selling the version of him this year that we're going to see. He's a great athlete, all that kind of stuff, but great warrior. But
knee injury.
Everyone's worried about that knee injury. The league would tell you that the Browns are scared about that injury. They weren't confident they were going to keep him this offseason. They would be crazy if they told you they were confident about that. So yeah, I'm low on the Browns offense quite a bit. I like their defense still, but the offense is hardly playoff to me.
That's why I was confused. There was all the talk about the Browns being in for Brandon Ayuk, and they were going to trade, like, okay, cool, more talent, but then you're trading Amari Cooper. Is it worth trading all that capital and a player when you're literally just upgrading? Like, I don't know. Amari Cooper's a damn good wide receiver, and Ayuk isn't that much better, and you're trading more draft. Like, they just don't want to draft. I don't. It made no sense, and you still have nothing at quarterback. I mean, you almost hope that if you're a Browns fan, you almost hope that Deshaun Watson goes out there and just sucks it up and is just absolutely shitty. So they put in Jameis Winston because at least he's got an arm. He can throw interceptions, but he's entertaining, and you can win some shootouts with him. With Deshaun Watson, if he's okay, like not bad enough to bench, then you're capped. I mean, they'll make the playoffs because, again, 2 through 53, that roster stacks up with the Chiefs, stacks up with the 49ers, stacks up with anybody. But that number one's a really, really important spot. And unless you're Brock Purdy, like, you've got to have an elite guy at quarterback.
So I think that I feel comfortable speaking for Browns fans a little bit here. They feel that way about Deshaun Watson. I think that at least 70%, and that's probably low. Would honestly rather Deshaun Watson I don't want to say anyone would get an injury, but would just be off the field this year.
That guy can get an injury.
Winston would just be the quarterback, and they could just move on this offseason. That's what they want. I think if you had to ask most Browns fans, would this be your ideal scenario this year? They'd say yes. They are sick of it, man. Like, I think that a lot of us can sit here and like relive the Andy Dalton era. They're living a version of that in their own right. But the guy is a jerk. Like, at least Andy Dalton was so nice and very nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Like, imagine having Andy Dalton as your quarterback from like a production and like execution standpoint, but then he does all the things that Deshaun Watson says and all that kind of stuff. So that's what they're dealing with up there.
They should have just kept. They should have just kept Baker Mayfield. Honestly, they should. They have a better chance with Baker Mayfield. To be honest,
they would have been a legit Super Bowl threat last year if they had Baker Mayfield.
Absolutely.
If they cut ties with Deshaun Watson after this year and they designate him a post, June 1 cut, it's $118 million that they are eating.
Jeez.
Like, if they cut him before that, it's $172 million.
Worst contract in NFL history.
Yeah, and again, I feel bad for Browns fans because, I
don't.
Well, I put it this way. Bengals history has been mediocre to bleak for most of its 55, 56 years. But if you're the Browns or the Lions, you're one of the teams that the Bengals can dunk on, like, or the Cardinals. Like, I feel bad as a fan. Yeah, there are asshole fans that, that are like just dickheads and they're out there just to stir shit. But the average fan are guys like, I don't say a guy like you, Jeff, because you're kind of a nut job, but normal people like me that like don't deserve to be put through hell year after year after year. So I feel bad for, for the average fan that has to deal with this crap. It has to deal with inept ownership and front office that just didn't have patience for the longest time. They finally have a coach that they kept around for more than 2 years. Surprised they're actually able to do something.
And I think Stefanski's a good coach.
Yeah, I think he's a little. They have him on a little too high of a pedestal for the fact they haven't achieved anything. But yeah, he's absolutely a good coach. He's the best one that they've had. But they also gave him time. They didn't give anyone else time. They'd have a decent year, have a crap year because of injuries, and then they'd be out the door. Every 24 months, at most, they're doing a new coaching search.
What a time! What a place to be. That's got to be a lot of fun as a football fan, right?
Right. I'm glad it's not us. I'm glad it's not us. So let's move on to the squealers here. And Russell Wilson has come up with his calf. And
we know those.
Yeah, we know all about those. And Tomlin said he's not worried about it. He'll be fine. No big deal. Blah blah blah. Yeah, we've heard that before too. Again, well, I've said this since they got their two quarterbacks. If you have two quarterbacks, you usually have zero. Again, quarterback play being the most important part in this league. Russell Wilson hasn't been the Russell. He had a better year last year. He hasn't been the Russell Wilson he was in Seattle. Are the Steelers? Are they a factor in this at all, or for you, Willie? Or to be honest, I think this division really comes down to the Bengals and the Raptors. To be honest, but what's your thoughts on the Steelers?
So I think that the Ravens and the Bengals are in a different tier than the Steelers and the Browns. I think the Browns and the Steelers are in a similar tier where they're in that like playoff contender, but like
they ain't got a quarterback,
Super Bowl contender tier.
Yeah.
I think that the Steelers are ultimately going to be the same team in a lot of ways that we've seen year after year after year after year. Like they're going to have different strengths and different weaknesses. This year, they're going to be really bad at wide receiver. Like it's going to be as bad as it's been in a long time. George Pickens is the guy. Outside of that, like Roman Wilson got hurt in camp, and they were really banking on him being their other option. So they are, and obviously they traded Deontay Johnson to the Panthers in the offseason as well, a guy that didn't want to be there, and obviously found ways to make sure that he, I think he was making sure he didn't stay there this offseason. He wanted out. He didn't seem very happy.
Right.
And then you go to what, Jeff, you just mentioned, that Russell Wilson calf injury. I mean, we know that around here, but I think the more interesting parallel, just because of the age and, maybe even the style of quarterback he is, Aaron Rodgers had a calf injury in training camp last year with the New York Jets.
He did.
Actually, I think that most of that time he missed was in OTAs and some of the early portions, but he was limited into camp with the calf injury. And obviously, we know what happened 4 plays in Aaron Rodgers' season. And so for Russell, I hope that doesn't happen. Mike Tomlin says that he doesn't have any concerns about Russ at this point. He's going to be good to go. But I mean, from a physical standpoint, I don't necessarily believe that Russell Wilson, a guy who's, used his feet to create offense, create different pockets for himself as a passer, and also a guy who's been compared to Joe Burrow in this way, where he just takes sacks and puts himself in position to take sacks. I don't love this for him. I think that Justin Fields is going to start in a lot of games for them, and it pains me to say this as a Buckeye, but Justin Fields is not an NFL starting quarterback. Like it's not there.
He holds on to the ball too.
That's where I'm at with them. Yeah.
Justin Fields holds on to the ball. I mean, there's a reason. Look, if you get to be a first round pick, and that team and it doesn't work, most time it ain't going to work. You can bounce around. I mean, it's happened over and over. There are quarterback like Jim Plunkett. I'll put him out there. He was one that bounced around, got drafted, I think, by the Patriots, and then found his way with the Raiders. So it does happen, but not very often. And
how old are you?
I'll be 50 in April.
Jesus, pulling out Jim Plunkett when Baker Mayfield was sitting right there. We just mentioned him.
Yeah. Well, Jim Plunkett did win a Super Bowl. It's a little different. It was my point to this, that you can be a successful winning quarterback. Baker Mayfield took him to the playoffs. Okay. Jim Plunkett won the Super Bowl. Anyway, thank you. But the point is, again, back to what I was saying, is I think it's coming down to the Bengals and the Ravens in this, because two things. They got the quarterbacks. Say what about Lamar. I like Lamar Jackson. I think Joe Burrow's a better quarterback. He's more accurate, but Lamar does Lamar things. What's going to be interesting this year is, going back to that, is where they brought King Henry in, is I think a lot to take some of the running away from Lamar. And Lamar's gotten skinnier too, so he's going to be more explosive. Is that a thing? Do you guys think? I mean, because I can't remember who said it, but it's like, oh, he looks like the Lamar Jackson of back in Louisville. What's your thoughts on that, Willie?
I don't want to be like a physique guy, because like I'm not smart at that. But like I will say that I like the idea of a thicker Lamar Jackson if I had to pick. I
would think Lamar that, yeah.
Jackson was terrifying. Like I think that's the best version of him I've ever seen. And I thought when he was coming out and saying he'd lost 15 to 20 pounds and had cut off some muscle, I thought that was a little concerning. Not from like an arm power standpoint. He's got an absolute
just injury.
Like flick of the wrist.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Like, we've seen him get those injuries, and when he's more mobile, he's going to take more hits. And he's already decreasing in mobility because of all the hits he's taken throughout his career. I don't necessarily like that. That's something that he thinks is to his benefit, and I definitely didn't like him today saying he thinks he can win without passing, because I think if there's one thing Lamar needs to focus on and continue to do really well, when he passes well, they're impossible.
But that's the thing. He's not. That's the one.
Impossible.
That's the one thing with him. He's never been a consistent passer, and that's one thing. And people get on me, oh, you just hate him because it's like, no, he's not a consistent passer. I mean, he's not. He
was really good last year, man.
He was last year, but that's
last year.
First time.
Stinkers. He has some stinkers is his problem.
Yeah. So, stinkers. I mean, I said this a lot last year. I said I'll take Lamar Jackson, put him in the pocket, and let him try to pick us apart. I will take that over him running around and making plays. That scares me more than Lamar Jackson back in the pocket. I'm just, and yeah, you're right, Joe. He did have a good year last year. So, I mean, maybe he's gotten better, but most of the time, you are what you are. You don't get that much better the older you get. You're just declining. And like Willie says, with the hits he's taking and everything. And I agree with you, Willie. With the way he plays, I would think you'd want to be thicker, more muscular, so you could take the pounding, because he
absorb it. Exactly.
Yes, because he is going to go out. Lamar's going to be Lamar. He's going to go out there and he's going to try to make plays. That's the way he plays football. He's not going to change.
It's still mind-boggling to me that Lamar Jackson, through 6 years, is 58-19 as a starting quarterback. Again, it's not all on the quarterback. Yeah, it's a quarterback league, and it's not all, but I mean,
yeah, that's pretty good though.
Team, again, that right there is why the Browns get the benefit of the doubt or the Browns, the Ravens get the benefit of the doubt.
The opposite of.
Yeah, exactly. When there's defections, they lost half of their defensive coaching staff, and they lost a lot of players at every level, but they know what they're doing there. Like they bring in guys. They just win. Yeah, the success hasn't been there for Lamar in the playoffs, but they've got a coach that's won a Super Bowl, and weird runs happen. So I mean, I'd be happy with them. I do want to ask you thoughts. Will, you said that you think that the Steelers are right there with the Browns. And maybe it's because he's due, but I really think the Steelers are going to suck. And I'm talking 5.
I knew I like Joe for some reason.
I just don't see the talent there. Like their defense, they have some playmakers, but they're not great. I mean, the guys are getting older. Hayward's not young. Fitzpatrick's great. TJ Watt is great, but the offense is not going to be good. Again, the running backs, I like Jaylen Warren. I guess he's a little banged up. but he's also not running back one. They still hand the ball off to Najee Harris too much. Again, your quarterbacks, whoever's out there, isn't going to be good. Even if Russ Wilson, who's probably the best option, I guess, at quarterback, this isn't Russ Wilson from Legion of Boom days. This is a diminished guy. The guy that he can still make some jaw-dropping plays, but I think they're not. I don't think they're going to be any good. And again, I hesitate. Mike Tomlin has absolutely made shit, chicken soup out of chicken shit, but I just don't think they're any good. They're due.
Sorry, I was looking for my unmute button. So I get that.
Where'd that thing go?
Definitely do. And more than anything, believe me, more than anything, here's what I think about the Pittsburgh Steelers when I look at my evaluation of them. I think that what they've done on the interior of their offensive line is going to allow them to be they're not good enough is probably not what I feel like about it, but like annoying enough or pesky enough or in games enough to allow that defense to wear on teams and allow them to get those, especially those late season. So I don't think we're going to get like a big Pittsburgh rocking out of the gate like that one Big Ben season where they ripped off like 12 in a row before they fell off the face of the earth. They're a
Ryan Finley, baby.
Yeah!
They are fundamentally more Mike Tomlin than they were then. They kind of lost their way towards the end of the Big Ben stuff because they had to just make him like throw 50 times a game. Otherwise, he was going to get smashed. I think this version of the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, especially because I think Justin Fields ends up taking a lot of snaps at quarterback, they're just going to be efficient enough in the run game, control clock, and allow their defense to wear on teams and create turnovers, put their offense in easy scoring situations. And I think that's the reason I think they'll be on that playoff one. I think that they're honestly probably a little too good to be awful. And I really want them to.
So are we, all right, so are we saying that it's going to be like last year, every team except one's going to make the division or make the playoffs this year?
I think that the Browns and Steelers could have similar records, but I think that if 9-8 is good enough to get in, maybe one of them gets in. But I think that between 9-8, 7-10, somewhere, both of them will finish in that range. They're both going to be competitive late into the season and probably fall off with injuries. If I
would love to see Tomlin not have his or to have a losing season. That would be phenomenal to see him finally have a non-winning season. But like I said, we said this before. This is the best division in football. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, it is. When you got, I hate to say it, you got two of the best run organizations in your division, in the Ravens and the Steelers. Damn it, I cussed again. And the Ratbirds and the Squealers. You got to step your game up, and the Bengals have lately. So I mean, it's when the Bengals are healthy and good, we've won the division back-to-back years. So. Like I said, I'm just going into the season very, very confident. Like I said, Willie, what's your prediction for starting of the season? Because I'll put it this way: if we're not 3-1, 4-0, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. I'm gonna be pissed if we're not. To be honest, I'll tell you that.
First of all, I recognize your guys' request for more volume. I did try to move my laptop closer to the motion next time. Second of all, I think that for some reason I just know they're going to lose that Chiefs game in the back of my head.
Damn it, Willie!
Out of the gate. I think they're going to go like 3-1 for sure. Like they're going to lose one because that's just the way the beginning of the season goes.
Yeah.
Teams have things that trip you up, and especially Joe Burrow, who likes to learn how defenses are going to play him differently as the year goes on. Even though they have some absolute gimmies to start the year outside of Kansas City, 3-1 feels like what's going to happen, even if they beat Kansas City. I don't know why. It just feels right. Even if they could go undefeated from there. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I like them around like 12-5. It feels like the right record to me.
12-5, 13.
Kinda,
yeah. That's like I said, we're going to be 3-1, 4-0, somewhere around there. I really do think. And we could get tripped up and lose one. I would love to go to Burrowhead and whoop their ass. I would just love it. I still call it Burrowhead. And I don't care. I'm gonna call it Burrowhead. I can't help it. That's what they named the stadium. Anyway, Willie, you've been on for about an hour. I appreciate you, man. Tell everybody where they can follow you. Tell them about the new podcast, Believe Network, all the cool stuff you got going on.
Yeah, so if you're not already following the Believe in Cincy Podcast Network, we are on there with a bunch of your other favorite Bengals faces. Bengal Jim's got his podcast running on there. John Sheeran and Anthony Cosenza run their podcast on there. So
the Godfather and the Brain.
Yeah, for real, man. Make sure you follow that on wherever you get your podcasts. Matt and Willie No Ball comes out on Thursday nights for the most part. Not this week, like I said at the beginning of the show. So next week you can catch your Matt and Willie No Ball, but this week I'm on this show. So you got plenty of Willie talking football for you today.
I like it.
Thanks for having me on, man. This has been a
No
blast.
problem. Well, hey, I appreciate it, man. And don't be a stranger. I'll try to answer your DMs a little more.
Oh yeah, that place is a cesspool. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I gotta get you.
Just send me your number. It'll be a lot easier.
Yeah, I'll do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. That'll be
that'd be easier.
Be aware he's the only person in the world that still actually calls you on the phone instead of sending
Dude,
text messages.
Joe
It's
gets
bad.
Like,
It's bad, man.
I hate texting. Like, dude,
So
I write my script down still on a piece of paper. Screw you guys.
2024, man.
I'm almost 50. Hush. All right, Willie, take it easy, brother.
Good talking with you.
Oh God, dude, I cannot freaking wait. We're so close to game time. So you got a score prediction or what do you just your thoughts? I'll put it this way, that's score prediction. What's your thoughts on the game tonight and how you think it's going to go? Chiefs Ravens.
I think Chiefs are going to win. I want to say handily just because the Ravens are they're not new and totally, like untested or anything like that, but they're playing at home with all of the energy of the home crowd. First game on a Thursday. I just think they're going to overwhelm them, and I'll say it's a 30-20.
I see. The thing is, like, I think the Chiefs are going to win because of what happened last year. They came out and got stunned by the Lions last year. I don't see them doing that back-to-back years.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at. And again, the Ravens, you have that many guys on the offensive line, it changes some stuff. But
It's going to take a little while to gel. So
yeah, exactly. So we'll see what's going on. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We've been live streaming on ZTV Online, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. You can follow us follow me on all those, along with Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. My thanks to Midwest Best Barbecue for sponsoring the show. We still gotta get Joe out there. And by the way, guys, I'm trying to get Joe a nickname here, all right? So I'm Ice or Strawberry Ice or Iceman or whatever. I got like 25 different names. He's just Joe. So for Tuesday, come out and give us a name. But between now and then, go to Midwest Best Barbecue. Check them out. Tell Tim and Nicole Ice that you. Also, should have been brought to you by Meyer Windows and Doors and more. And check them out at www.meyercincinnati.com for all your window and door needs. And my West Side peeps, go check out Hail Mary's. Your ticket to the game. They got big ass TV screen, beer specials, free parking. It's an awesome little place right there. And this Sunday, you can join me at the Mercedes-Benz at Fort Mitchell at Moline Lager House pregame experience. Tickets are going fast. The price has changed. It's only $75. Get you in there. Get you a margarita bar. Get you an open bar. Get you a buffet. I'll be doing my live podcast from there. Bengals captain will be there. Zim Hude will be there. It's going to be a great time. So make sure you guys get your tickets, and then you can join me and this guy right here every Tuesday at the Moline Lager House for live sports talk. Show starts at 6. The happy hour starts at 3, goes all the way till 9. We had a great time there this past Tuesday. It's gonna be it's an awesome thing we have going on with the Moline Lager House. I'd like to thank them for helping us do this, and thank Joe for coming in and enjoying this ride with me. What was Tuesday like for you? Was that a fun experience? Hang out with me for 2 hours.
I mean, that's the downside of it, but no, it's always I always enjoy when we get to do lives and be men of the people. So that's always fun.
Exactly.
I do got to point out, this is my new Pearl Jam sweatshirt that I got at the concert at Wrigley on Saturday.
Nice.
If you guys don't like Pearl Jam, you guys can suck it. They've been going for 34 years. They still sound fucking amazing. Eddie did talk a little too much about the Cubs because it was Chicago, and he's
a big Cubs fan, yeah.
Right, but again, it's my favorite band ever, and it was a hell of an awesome time. So,
did you? I don't know if I got to ask this yet. Did you get in a mosh pit?
No, we were sitting in the seats down first baseline.
Did nobody rip stands out and throw them onto the field or anything like that?
Did not. That probably would have been a quick way to get get tossed. So
exactly. Heads up for everybody. We will be doing a post-game show right here on this channel. This guy right here, Joe, is going to be hosting it. So we'll be doing it. I'll let you talk about it. When we doing the show again?
It's going to be again. It really just depends on when the when the game ends. But 4:30, 4:45, somewhere on that range after.
About 45 minutes. 45 minutes to half hour after the game.
Yeah, half an hour, 45 minutes after clock kicks off, and I'll put something out there on socials. I'll have Jeff put it out there on the Strawberry Ice feed, and we'll live feedback from you guys. What do you guys think? I mean, we're expecting I don't want to say cakewalk, but we're expecting a not too stressful victory. If they play like crap, come and tell us how crap. Come and bitch with us and come and vent. So
exactly. So we will be putting up the link so you guys can actually join us live. Now, be careful with that. Don't I don't want any weird stuff going on. We will get rid of you real quick. But
rated R, like that, or
rated R-ish.
Yeah,
R-ish. We'll put it that way.
Volume and language, we don't care. However, if there's some TNA or something like that, they will yank that fast.
Yeah, they'll yank that fast. Exactly.
Be a grown up.
Exactly. All right, guys. Other than that, we'll see you back here live tomorrow at 5:30, and that's your sports, baby. See ya.
They still gotta play us. Let's go, baby. Woo!
Hey, don't run that ball on the one hover, showed you how that go down. Feeling like Santino, tell him we want all the smoke now. We ain't snooping that commercial, we don't put no smoke down. Plus we back and you can't hide, so it ain't nowhere safe to go now. We always gon' turn up in that jungle every time. How we ain't gon' win when we loaded in with 9? Plus T just came in signed, so the city gon' be fine. Jamar say he open every time and he ain't never lied. Look at how we win at it, the size of the old line. Giving Burrow extra time should be a federal crime. Hey, we right back on that path again. Put the division back to the test, they won't pass again. Orlando and Trent Brown, that's the Tower Twins. Feel like we only getting better as we stacking wins. Jaceki in for 6, that's a gritty again. AFC North battles getting gritty again. It's Yoshi's second year, we just brought Burton in. Vaughn back to ring some bells, get the cracking again.